Hello, hello, hello. How are we all doing? How is everybody? How are we? How is everybody? Say hello. How are we doing? It's absolutely classic. I am delivering this from home. And of course, all I can hear is a lot of drilling. So can you let me know? Can you hear me okay? Or is that drilling coming through? I hope not for you guys. I hope not. How are you? How are you? Lovely to be here with you. We'll just give it a minute or two while people come and join us. Lovely to have you here. Do say hello. Where are you tuning in from? How are you all? Hi, Asha. Hello, good to see you. Oh, I'm so pleased. You can hear me with no noise. That is a relief. That is a relief. How's your week been? Is anyone else feeling like these weeks are just literally flying past right now? Are you feeling like that too? Like your weeks are just kind of going by in a blink of an eye? Ah, lovely to be here. Lovely to be here. Yes, no idea where the time is going. Exactly. I feel exactly the same way. Exactly the same way. And hi from Australia. What time is it there? My goodness me. Hi, Orly. Hello, hello. What's the weather like in France right now? How is everyone doing? How are you all doing? Here to talk about 9:32 p.m. just before bedtime. I love it. I love it. We'll just give it another minute whilst people might be joining. We'll just give it another minute. Let me just see. Somebody's just asking for the link. It is on Zoom. Somebody's just asking, is this on Team? Right, let me just say right, brilliant. Okay, a couple of people just having a bit of trouble logging in. All right. Okay, listen, great to be here. Great to be here with you today, talking about, I think, a fascinating subject, which is resilience. And my goodness me, don't we all need more resilience right now? I think we are all experiencing a resilience deficit. How are you feeling? I'd love to get a little temperature check of the room right now. How are you all feeling about your resilience at the moment? Do you feel deeply resilient? Do you feel that you're needing more resilience? Are you in a resilience crisis right now? Just pop in the chat. Where are you at with your resilience right now? Perhaps just give it a grade out of 10. Where would you place your resilience out of 10 right now? 0 being I am absolutely in emotional, physical deficit in terms of my resilience, and 10 being 10 out of 10. Yeah, okay, very weary. I hear you. I hear you. That's great. One. Um, okay. So we have a real mix. Hi, Tracy. And Tracy, if you are able to, in the group WhatsApp, there's lots of people asking for the link, and I can't go on to that and give that. So if you're able to go into the group chat and give the link, that would be amazing. All right. Okay. So today we're going to have a slightly different look at resilience. I wanted to take you on a slightly different path. When I go into organizations and deliver a half-day workshop on resilience or a full-day workshop on resilience, I am covering lots of different aspects of how we build our resilience muscle. And it doesn't matter right now where you are in terms of your resilience. We can, on a continuum, look to grow it. And we're going to look at one particular aspect of resilience today. And I'm going to help you, I hope, to start to notice where there might be areas where you can build your resilience. Now, you're going to be able to have a little snapshot at some of the housekeeping today. No one can see you, no one can hear you, but to note this is being recorded. You are so welcome to ask me questions. sessions. I absolutely love to be able to interact with you. I really enjoy being able to be as supportive and as additive as possible. So if you have a question, let me know. Also really wanted to acknowledge that if anybody is here and English is their second language and you need to ask me to slow down a little bit, or you need to ask me to explain something in a more accessible way, please don't hesitate to do that. And I would gladly be able to support with that. So who am I? Is there anybody here that is here with me for the first time for one of the sessions that I run? I'd love to say hi to you. Is anybody here for the very first time? Great, Amanda. Lovely to meet you. Hi, Annetta. Hello, Anastasia. Hi, Beth. Hi, Hannah. Two Hannahs. Hi, Vienna. Hi, Danielle. Great. Okay, well, I'm really grateful. Hi, Venetia. Very grateful indeed that you've chosen to spend some of your very precious time with me. I absolutely know that this is our time, is our most valuable resource. So I really hope this is going to feel really additive in value. I wear lots of different hats, like lots of you, but essentially I've really come to realize that over my lifetime, my purpose has become more and more clear. And in every different thread of my life, I really strongly believe that my purpose is to unlock potential in others. And whether that's in the work I do as the founder of a search and recruitment company, whether it's in the work that I deliver as part of the academy, which is training and development. And I'm so fortunate now that I get to go into organizations, get to deliver keynotes, workshops on topics that I am deeply passionate about, and to give you some reassurance, because there's worryingly an awful lot of coaches and trainers out there that don't actually have any kind of formal training. Is I actually have 6 different coaching accreditations, some of which took nearly 3 years to qualify and certify in. So I promise you that you're in good hands, and that I am my best student. Everything I share really truly works and has worked for many hundreds of individuals that I've supported through learning, development, through workshops, coaching, keynotes. And I always try and deliver as many free sessions as I can as well, so that you get to benefit as much as possible. And these are some of the organizations that invite me in. And if you would like to invite me into your organization, we can have a conversation about that at any time. You can reach out to me and I'd be delighted to have that conversation with you. I am training a huge amount over the next coming few weeks, which is my happy place. So I feel very grateful to be doing that. I am at the end of today's session going to be sharing with you our newest CPD certified course that's been a couple of years in development, has had a brilliant response. And I just want to let you know that right at the end of today's session, I will be sharing that with you. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about that, that will be coming your way. Okay, so resilience. Here is what it means, but I would like to know, what does resilience mean to you? When I share with you the word resilience, it's a very individual take, I think. I'd love to understand from your perspective, what does resilience mean to you? Share with me in the chat. When you think of resilience, what do you think of? What do you think of? Strength of character. Yeah, it's a great take on resilience. Yeah, I think that really resonates with me. Yep, bounce back ability, courage, interesting. I like that. Yep, bounce back ability, absolutely. Adaptation, nice. Yes, bandwidth, interesting. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that. Digging deep and carrying on, absolutely. And I think I used to think about it a bit like keep calm and carry on. And what I didn't realize is that actually, to really develop deep resilience, we need to really work with what is. And what do I mean by that? I don't know about you, but I've always been very good at getting on with things. And actually, when we were growing up, we used to be we used to be told Chamberlains don't cry. And as a result of that, and other things, I became pretty tough. And I thought that was resilience, but I was using so many different coping mechanisms to cope with my feelings. And I would still carry on, I'd still show up, and people would tell me that I'd been through some challenges, and people would say, I'm very, very brave. And you know, you've got incredible strength. Whereas actually what I was doing was masking all of the things that I was feeling inside with all sorts of different coping mechanisms, you know, the shopping, the scrolling, the drinking, the eating, the everything else, in order that I could bridge the gap from how I was feeling internally and to how I was showing up externally. Does that resonate with anybody? Does anybody kind of think, yeah, I can, it's not just you, Lucy. Yeah, I can sense, I can sort of resonate with that too. Thank you. I'm glad it's not just me. I'm glad it's not just me. Good to know. Good to know. And I've realized now that true resilience comes from being able to act on your own side when things get really challenging and tough, in order that you can build this resilience muscle. But my goodness, is that a journey? Because we have this crisis of resilience right now. We are not designed for the world that we are navigating. Change is now faster than it's ever been before, and this is the slowest it will ever be. And we are, as a collective, really struggling with the pressure that today's life brings us, you know, with the constant pings, the constant demands, the constant draws for our attention, the constant fear that we are living in at the moment. And I would really love to get a little sense of where you're at the moment. This is a resilience wheel. By the way, I should have said right at the beginning, grab a pen and paper or get ready to make some notes. We've got 45 minutes together now, and I want to give you the most value possible from today's session. This is a resilience audit. And if you and I were in a classroom together or in a workshop together, or I was coaching you directly, I would be sat with you and we'd go through this, and you would rate each slice of the pie, the resilience pie, out of 10. 0 being I am completely depleted, I am completely in deficit. 10 being I am rock steady on this, I'm completely on my own side, absolutely rock solid. So if you can just take a little look at this with me. So out of 10, how are you feeling about your ability to problem solve, to find solutions, to maintain and tap into your support systems, having a really strong belief about your capacity to cope with change? And we just saw the statistics, right? We just saw those statistics and just how difficult as a collective we are finding it to navigate the change that we are now under. Having a strong belief in your capacity, feeling realistic optimism about the future. And Kristen, I really can understand why that would be right now. Feeling in control, focusing on those areas that you can influence, having clear goals, taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So these are all of the different quadrants that build your resilience, all of the different slices of the pie. And I'd love for you just to let me know, what are you noticing that is an area that really needs your attention right now? What are you noticing really needs your attention? Yeah, Holly, I feel that. So that thing about noticing where you really need to make sure that you are giving yourself the scaffolding to be able to meet life on life's terms by taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually. What else are people noticing? Clear goals. Yes, so some clarity of direction. Having a strong belief in your capability, that resonates as well. Absolutely. Okay, and I'm going to really invite you to be compassionate with yourself. So, Claire, you've just shared that obviously at the moment you're shocked that you haven't been able to score higher in some sections. That's just an opportunity to exercise this muscle. So, any way where you are feeling perhaps that you are not as strong as you'd like to be. It's just an invitation for change. It's not something that's good or bad. It's just an invitation or a possibility for change. Okay, well, thank you for sharing so honestly. It makes a big difference for everybody to know that this is a we challenge and not a me challenge. So you can take a screenshot of this if you want to, or take a photograph and or come back and watch the recording and just work through this and perhaps notice 2 or 3 small actions in the areas that need most attention that might make a difference for you. And I've shared with you here some of the some of the ways that you can take a look about whether you can back yourself in this belief right now, or whether at the moment you know there's a gap between what I'm sharing and how you're thinking, acting and feeling. And really these just feed into the circle of resilience that I've just shared with you. But I think it's clear when you read something and you can't really say it with genuine belief. And that's just, again, it's an invitation to notice where perhaps there's an opportunity to build some more resilience. Most of us have deeply held core beliefs that truly influence how resilient we really are. And I don't know about you, but I know that when I've really explored some of my core beliefs around how I see the world, that I have been surprised at perhaps some of the beliefs that I've held that haven't actually been empowering or supportive, that have actually ultimately kept me quite stuck. And I wonder, when you look at these 2 statements and you think about, you know, where you truly sit, is life something that happens to you over which you've got very little ability to control, or is life what you make it and you decide the path of your life, and you're able to control and change things? Because everyone normally says yes, 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 I absolutely believe that life's what you make it, but actually underneath it's whether or not fear is your driver or faith is your driver. So for many people, including incredibly successful people, fear is the driver. Fear of losing it all, fear of not fitting in, fear of not being accepted, fear of not being successful, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of financial loss. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. We cannot control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. We can always control or decide or determine what our response might look like. And these are the 3 areas that affect deeply how you see your capability, your capacity to handle challenge and change with grace and ease. And I'm going to ask you to think about, to sit with, and to notice over the coming days what thoughts are most prevalent about the world that we live in, especially at the moment, especially with what's going on geopolitically and our constant bombardment of news alerts and the news itself, which, by the way, is very, very, very clever at understanding how to make us keep going back for more. And fear is a brilliant way to keep us going back for more news, more news, more news. How you're seeing yourself in the world. Notice what thoughts are coming up, how you see others, everyone else. And if you notice that there is a lot of a negative noise coming up, there is an opportunity just to get really curious about that, because this has a huge impact on your resilience. And often when we talk about resilience, yes, we talk about bounce back ability, we talk about meditation, mindfulness, and these things are super important. But actually getting deeper and really looking at our core belief system and noticing how it intersects with our capability to build our resilience muscle is really empowering. Because our thoughts create the whole of our reality. And when we can start to challenge our thoughts, we can start to build our resilience muscle. So I'm just going to invite you to have a think about that over the coming days. Because where I really want you to be able to spend more time is in your window of tolerance. We're either so often in in the past or in the future, and the anxiety of what might happen, the catastrophizing or the pain of the past. And we spend a lot of time trying to process the pain of the past, or trying to control and limit the capability that everything's about to go horribly wrong in the future. And most of the time in the moment, we are just fine most of the time. So this window of tolerance where we're able to sail through the ups and downs is where I hope I want you, where I would really love to be able to help to guide you to be able to spend more time. Just noticing for you, if you think about the last couple of days, where have you spent most of your time? Have you been in hyperarousal, so a bit of overwhelm, panic, feeling unsafe or angry, lots of racing thoughts, or feeling a bit anxious, that kind of hyper alert state? Or have you been in that hypoarousal state, so low energy, can't think straight, feeling pretty disconnected, a bit shut down? Or have you been in that window of tolerance most of the time? Where have you been spending your existence over the last couple of days? Just share, if you feel comfortable, where you've been. Yeah, because most of the organizations I'm going in to deliver training in right now have been in hyperarousal. I know that certainly in the recruitment team at CNC, most candidates, most clients are also in hyperarousal. Interesting. Interesting. All right, and I'm going to give you some tips about how to come back into a window of tolerance. So if you've been in that hyperarousal state, it's about being able to start to really notice how to stimulate your vagus nerve, longest nerve in the body. And there's lots of different ways that you can do that. Movement, gratitude, cold water, humming, singing, getting out into nature. You can also do some really brilliant exercises like pulling your hands apart, raising them up above your head, lifting your neck, moving to the right. Take a deep breath. Back to the center and release. It's a great way of giving yourself some dopamine. You can even just do a chair stretch with me right now. It's just to look over your right shoulder, twisting as much as you can. Deep breath in. Back to the chair. Breathe out. Brilliant way to move out of hyperarousal and back in to your window of tolerance. And we're going to really focus on bringing you into that window of tolerance right now, because when we're in that parasympathetic nervous system or the sympathetic nervous system, we want to find a way to come back into that window of tolerance. And breath work is fabulous. Walking is wonderful. Anything where we're in flow, away from our phones, away from all the pings and the dings, is a wonderful way. But it's trying to find little ways during your day that you can spend more time there. So the negative bias that our brain has is one of the ways that we struggle most with really maintaining our capability to be in that window of tolerance. It takes 5 positive interactions to counteract 1 negative interaction. We are 30% more likely to click on negative headlines. We remember negative events over positive events far more readily. We know that we will spend 80% of our time thinking about negative feedback, 20% of our time thinking about positive feedback after a review. And it's really challenging. Now, actually, from an evolutionary perspective, it was super useful because we were paying attention to threats all the time. It increased our survival chances, built-in protection mechanism. But of course, things have changed. We've evolved, but that part of our brain hasn't. And we dwell on criticism far more than praise. We ruminate on mistakes over successes. We assume the worst on a continuous basis. Am I resonating here? Does this resonate with you? So our negativity bias has a huge impact on our resilience. Huge impact. And so really working with our brain to reframe and to do the activities and the actions that help bring us back into that window of tolerance and help our capability to come back into the moment and notice that all is well right now. Because this negativity bias is our amygdala, and our amygdala sits in the middle of our brain, and essentially this is what is constantly looking for any kind of threat. And if you have had experiences in your life, like most of us have, like I have, where you've had really big curveballs or things have happened that have been completely out of your control, or perhaps you had a caregiver that wasn't able to cope or process, what happens is our amygdala is like, it's like it's on a crazy speedboat, searching in a kind of hyper vigilant way the whole time. And so the more you're in that hyper arousal state, the more you notice after today's session, I bet possibly me even talking about it like that might even have it give you a little bit of a heart race, possibly, is just to work on how do I come back to the now? How do I come back to the present so that I can engage my rational brain? And we're going to use the sailboat metaphor today. Some of you might know this. It's very, very helpful. This is essentially what's representative of life. And resilience is directly related to all these different components. So we have water. So the area of life that we move through, work, family, friends, hobbies, and our compass, which is all about our values, our sense of direction, our steering wheel, which is agency and decision making, leaks, so emotional wounds, negative thoughts, past stuff. Slow the boat down, they don't define it. Your sails. So this is your talents, your motivation, your mindset, and the weather, life's challenges, external circumstances that you cannot control. Other boats, social support, friends, family, colleagues, boats that might be able to guide, support, or sail with you. And your destination, so your goals, your aspirations, the future you're moving towards. And then we have you as the captain on the left-hand side. So this is how we mentally and behaviorally interact with all of those elements of the sailboat metaphor, those 8 parts of life. And this is made up of 4 things: our attention. So what we focus on most. Are we focusing on the leaks, the problems, or the compass, which is our value system, or our destination, our goals? And I'd encourage you to have a think about which element you focus on most. Thoughts, what you believe about each element. So what you believe about your strengths, your goals, other people, and which element is most shaped by your belief system or your motivation. What do you care about in terms of certain elements more than others? What's driving you in your desire to act or change? And what are you, and then action, what are you doing about each element? Are you using your sails? Are you using your sails to move towards your goals? And you might just think about yourself as the captain and how you handle difficult weather. Do you overwork? Do you shut down? Do you panic like mad internally and not ask for any help? Are you trying to sort it all out, moving into overwhelm and burnout? Or are you calmly steering that ship, knowing that this too shall pass and that you have the tools and the resources to be able to meet this challenge? Where are you at? Where are you at? Because we have these different ways of coping, helpful and unhelpful. And these are absolutely connected to your resilience muscle. And helpful coping is being able to look at all of those different aspects of the sailboat, perhaps to use the compass, perhaps to focus on the goals, perhaps to use other sailboats. So your network, your help system, Or we have unhelpful coping mechanisms. And these are like the self-sabotage that often when things just feel too overwhelming and when unable to come back into that window of tolerance because we're not using those tools that help get us on our own side, we do things that feel good in the moment, but actually really hurt our resilience. And you will all know what those maladaptive coping mechanisms are for you and how they can really affect your resilience muscle. Might help in the moment, but often become more challenging afterwards. So I'd ask and invite you, when you next have a challenging situation, or perhaps you are experiencing one right now, is what can I control and what can I surrender to? COVID was a prime example around, or certainly a prime lesson for me around action and surrender. I'll talk a bit more about that in just a second. We're going to focus on control today because when we start to be able to recognize our types of control, our natural go-to, we can start to notice how to get back into that window of tolerance. So are you doing too little? So do you go into that place of just shut down, bury your head in the sand, hope it'll pass? Or are you doing too much? Are you trying to control everything? Are you trying to take it all on? Are you trying to think that if I just do this, 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 and this, this, and this, and this, something, somehow everything will be all right? Where do you sit? Are you too little? Are you too much? Are you just right, do you think? And if you are in hyper a lot of the time, my guess is too much. My guess is you'll be trying to control it all just so that somehow it doesn't all fall apart. Combination of all three, yes. Too much, too much. Yeah, that's what I see a huge amount of. And procrastination, of course, is that place of overwhelm and moves us into too little normally. Yes, and just because you're doing too little, it doesn't mean that's your desire, by the way. It's absolutely that place of freeze. So when we're in this too little place, we are in a place where we overthink things, we are frustrated about things, but we do nothing about it. We do nothing about it. We don't have the conversation. We don't take the action. We don't put our hand up for something. We keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And what happens is it affects and impacts our resilience, because resilience is so much built on the foundation of self-trust, trust that we have the capability to know and or to work through, and it'll become clear what's one next thing that we can do that's going to be on our own side in this situation. It's often when we feel helpless, overwhelmed, that we have no control at all, that this back to us sort of life is what's happening to us. And we have all felt like this at times because we are human. Or too much control. And I see this so much. And this was me. So let's say, when we think about COVID, I spent every waking hour that I had during COVID working to try and keep the lights on in the business. So I was exhausted, but I would carry on regardless. I was also Googling it on a continuous basis, looking at the news continuously, trying to work out how this might end, when it might end, what I was going to do about it. Was this going to happen? Was that going to happen? Was this going to be the result? Was that going to be the result? Or it might be something like you've hurt your ankle, but you carry on training anyway. You're sick, you carry on working anyway. You're tired, and instead of going to bed early, you have the bottle of wine and go out with your friends, and then you feel even more tired the next day. And it's like we can't recognize as the captain of our lives that these weather conditions are making it impossible to stay on track. And we run around like crazy, just trying to make sure that somehow, if we just do the thing, if we just carry on, if we don't rest, if we just keep going, it's all going to be okay. But of course, as you and I both know, it leads to burnout, exhaustion, resentment, illness, maladaptive coping mechanisms, snapping at other people, criticizing other people. And of course, it's like taking too little control really impacts our self-esteem. We feel worthless. We feel ineffective. We feel incompetent, unable. Is this resonating with anybody? Is this resonating? I just want to know that I'm landing, that this feels like, yes, I'm getting it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. I'm pleased. I'm pleased. Fantastic. And so taking action can look like lots of different things. But it's about noticing what's most important, using that value system, using the compass. It might mean that we have to let go of the wheel of the boat and focus on protecting the boat's health instead, getting water out of it during rainfall, for example. Might taking a moment's pause, taking a step back, or leaning into doing the thing that we simply don't want to do, the thing we'd like to put off till tomorrow, but knowing it, we will feel better for doing it. And surrender is also part of this. What can I control about this situation? And based on that, should I take action or surrender? Not too much, not too little, but should I take action or surrender? Now, what I mean by surrender is that does not mean do nothing. It means coming back to what is in the circle of our control. That's what it means. It means coming back to what is in the circle of our control. And that is where resilience is built, because at times when we are trying to control too much or we're in overwhelm and shutting down, it's because we haven't surrendered to what is. I don't know about you, but I've been through periods of insomnia before. And let me tell you something, obsessing about will I sleep, won't I sleep, obsessing about rituals absolutely did not help. So in the end, surrendering to the fact that I may sleep, I may not sleep, was the most helpful strategy. And then, of course, looking at the things I could take action on. But surrendering to what is out of your control is really helpful at coming back into your window of tolerance. You cannot control what is happening in the American administration right now. You cannot control what's happening in Gaza right now. You cannot control what's happening in Ukraine right now. Those are the pieces of surrender. It does not mean you don't have to care. It does not mean it does not matter. But surrendering what is out of our control so that we can regulate is really important. For me, watching the news once a week now, rather than getting into it on a day-to-day basis, is really important for my window of tolerance. Healthy eating, gratitude, little mantras for me, like I love my life loves me. That really helps as well when I wake up, when I go to bed. Doing things like movement, yoga, all of these things. So sometimes surrender is the answer. And there might be something in your life right now that you're holding on to, or an anxious thought on repeat, or something you're doing to try and control something that is out of your control. Might be trying to control somebody else. That's often a place of surrender, is noticing you cannot make somebody else think or feel or do anything that they don't desire to do. I don't want you to share this, but is there an area perhaps where surrender in your life right now might help you with your window of tolerance? Will you just pop a little yes in the chat box if you're noticing that that is something that would be helpful to you? Great. Amazing. Amazing. Well, perhaps this is your invitation to consciously let that go. And just say when that thought comes back, or that feeling of, I surrender. It's okay. I surrender. Or I surrender that thought, or I surrender that need for control. Because we can, through curiosity, really help move through to the right action with compassion. So there's thinking, I won't make it. I can't do this. This is impossible. It's always going to be this way. It's going to be a disaster. They're going to think this, that, and the other. And just saying to yourself, is this helpful? Is this on my own side? Is this useful? What's a thought right now that would actually help me to take the right action? Or simply, what thought would be more helpful in this moment? Because that way you will start to feel more empowered. And when we notice that we have agency, when we notice that we can change our thoughts that create the whole of our reality, we can start to build our resilience muscle by focusing on possibilities, by focusing on positives, by challenging our assessment of situations, by seeking out the benefits, and by tapping into optimism. And for those of you that are struggling with optimism right now, I try and find anything that will help me move into a place of optimism. So for me, that's things like mantras, yoga nidra, it's things, really positive, empowering podcasts, following people that I find inspirational, reading the right kind of books, and just dialing down. When Facebook realized, and they were the first to realize, that having pictures of injured animals or videos of injured animals on their feed was going to make you more likely to keep clicking. They just gave you more and more of that. The world is designed to keep you in fear right now because it keeps you clicking, it keeps you engaged, it keeps you on alert. So finding ways to build that window of tolerance, so important. So challenging your appraisal, noticing how you can move from fear to faith, from threat to challenge. Okay, this is challenging right now. It does not mean crappy things are not going to happen to you. It does not mean challenging things are not going to happen to you. It does not mean change is not going to happen to you. But it's about that self-trust piece. Okay, this feels really, really challenging right now. It also doesn't feel fair, but I know I have the resources to draw on to move through this. Looking at all the times you've sailed through bad weather and got through to the other side, drawing on that knowledge and that experiences, and realizing that all our challenges afford us growth if we sit with them and work with them, or they certainly afford us more empathy. Benefit finding, so choosing thoughts that allow you to see the positives. So noticing when you've learned from experiencing, noticing where moments of gratitude might come from. So for me, I had something happen last week on a personal level, and I had a phone call from somebody, and it didn't change the difficult thing that had happened. Didn't change that at all. But I really noticed how grateful I felt afterwards that I had a friend that cared to pick up the phone and just to check in and see if I was okay. And having, so I could have focused on the crappy thing that was going on, but I chose in that moment to really focus on how grateful I was to have friends that wanted to support me. And so it's choosing to find those benefits. It does not mean that the negatives or the challenges is not there, but it's holding duality, the chance that we can be experiencing both challenge and gratitude at the same time, and noticing that. Noticing the benefits of traveling through these challenging parts of your journey. Optimism, expecting good things to come to you. And even when something not so good happens, allowing that little bit of a plot twist and noticing that and expecting, once I get through the other side of this, good things will come. Because everything passes, the good and the bad, everything passes. And we expect so much from our life because of what we're fed. We have this kind of whole construct about what we ought to have, what we deserve to have, what we should have. We should be millionaires. I should have that home. I should have those kind of holidays. I should look like the girl that does yoga poses on Instagram. And actually, optimism is so much more around faith, hope, connection, courage. It's not about necessarily material things. So you can choose to see stormy weather as part of a temporary feature rather than a permanent fixture. So just notice when these negative or unhelpful thoughts are present. Step away and observe, and notice how you can be the captain of your own ship in order, especially around control, to help to start to build that resilience muscle. And there are so many aspects to resilience. We've touched on just one. And it's not about toxic positivity either, but noticing what you have in your toolbox. So just before I move on to the last part of today's session, would you please just share with me what's resonated so far, what's landed, what you're noticing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, but most importantly, maybe one action you want to take, maybe just one action you want to take from what we've shared today. Just pop in the chat for me. What's landed for you? What have you noticed? What's felt important? What's talking to you? Surrender. Yeah, it's powerful, right? Because once you do that, you let energy in for other things. Sailboat metaphor, everything passes. It does. It does. Yes, Tracy. That's so true. That's so true. Yeah. What if it all works out? Exactly that. Exactly that. I love my life and my life loves me. So just for the final part of our session, and this is just if you wish to stay for this, I want to share with you a piece of work that I'm really proud of. It is a course. It's a course that you can sign up to. It is a paid course. There is an investment. It's CPD certified. And I know that some of you online have actually signed up already. We have some of our clients that have signed up their teams, which we're very, very proud of indeed as well. And it's basically, for me, this is the course to give you the scaffolding to really build all of your capability to handle change and challenge with ease and conflict, change, challenge, and conflict with ease. And it's an emotional intelligence course, which is one of the top 5 most important skills as listed by the World Economic Forum's Future of Work. It is transformational. It's a really, really, really brilliant course. And so it's designed for you. It's designed for you to be able to elevate your success, to elevate your self-esteem, to elevate your confidence, to deliver more fulfillment in life, to be able to navigate all of those choppy waters with so much ease. And these are the core outcomes. So you communicate more effectively, you make much better decisions, you can navigate, you can lead, whether that's upward leadership, sideward leadership, downwards leadership. You can empower yourself in your role. There's 8 core modules, loads of practical tools, an online community. There's live sessions that happen too that you can join in with whenever you choose to. And this is just one of the pieces of feedback we had, that had already been transformational and had made a huge difference to how somebody communicated and managed their relationships. And we're thrilled to say it's CPD certified, really important to us. I think it's transformational. I think it's an amazing community of learners. And I just wanted to share with all of you that if you would like to explore it, you can. We have a discount code for you. We've made it as accessible as possible. Literally, it's pretty much at cost price. And we would so welcome you or your teams, or speaking to your organization, if your organization would be keen to sign you up or your team up, like some of you have. And we have our amazing membership manager here with us today. And Anna is delighted to answer questions. After this, you can reach out to Anna, ask her questions, connect with her, talk to her about the course. We'd really love to welcome you on that course. it is an absolute game changer. I promise you that. I promise you that. I want to thank you so much. We are going to send the recording to all of you so that you can utilize some of the tools that we've talked about today. Very much hope to deepen my relationship with some of you through this emotional intelligence course. If you don't feel that course is right for you right now, there's lots of other resources that we have in the academy, including an entry level product, which is our membership. So you are welcome to go and look there. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so grateful to have you here today. And I'll very, very, very much look forward to supporting you in whatever way I can moving forwards. So take care, everybody. And I'm really looking forward to speaking to you all soon. And I'm really hopeful. Ah, fantastic. You signed up. I can't wait to welcome you. That's so exciting. Yeah, I will speak to you all very, very soon indeed. Take care, everyone. And I'll look forward to connecting with you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Nice to be here with you. Bye, everybody. Take care. Nice to see you.